Prime Minister Narendra Modi to dedicate the Kochi Mangaluru Natural Gas Pipeline to the nation today at 11 a.m. via video conference. It would mark a milestone in the creation of one nation, one gas grid. Government and farmers hold the 7th round of talks. Next round of talks on 8th of January. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar says the government ready to talk on all issues. National flag installed in United Nations Security Council as India starts its 2-year tenure as a non-permanent member. India says will use its tenure to bring human-centric and inclusive solutions to matters of international peace and security. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar visit to Sri Lanka from today. Jaishankar will have bilateral meet with Sri Lankan President, Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. Global fight against COVID-19 continues. More than 8.6 crore infected and nearly 18.6 lakh succumb to the pandemic. Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson announces new lockdown in the country. Britain has registered 58,000 new cases in a day. Critical election in U.S. state of Georgia for 2 seats of Senate. Democrats need to win both the seats in order to wrest control of the chamber. In sports, Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw and Navdeep Saini clear to take part in the Sydney Test. Good morning, you're watching DD India and I'm Preeti presenting this bulletin. Our top story first. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will dedicate the Kochi Mangaluru Natural Gas Pipeline to the nation at 11 a.m. today via video conference. It would mark a milestone in the creation of one nation, one gas grid. The 450 kilometers long pipeline has been built by Gas Authority of India Limited. It has a capacity of 12 million metric standard cubic meters per day. It will carry natural gas from liquefied natural gas regasification terminal at Kochi in Kerala to Mangaluru in Dakshina Kannada district of Karnataka while passing through Ernakulam, Thrissur, Palakkad, Malappuram, Kozhikode, Kannur and Kasaragod districts of Kerala. The project costs about 3,000 crore rupees and it has created more than 12 lakh man-days of employment. Laying of the pipeline was an engineering challenge because the route of the pipeline necessitated it to cross water bodies at more than 100 locations. Now this was done through a special technique called horizontal directional drilling method. The pipeline will supply environmental friendly and affordable fuel in the form of piped natural gas to households and also CNG to the transportation sector. It will also supply natural gas to commercial and industrial units along the pipeline. The government on Monday held the 7th round of talks with farmers as the protests completed 40 days. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar says that he is hopeful of a resolution. We get to more in this report.
The farmers' agitation against the 3 farm laws remains unabated. On Monday, another round of talks between the government and farmers was held at Vigyan Bhavan in the national capital. The meeting was used to discuss the remaining 2 agenda points, including 3 farm laws and the issue of MSP. The meeting was held in a cordial atmosphere. However, the talks could not move ahead as the farmers' unions stuck to their demand for the repeal of the farm laws. The government expressed hope of finding a solution in the next round of talks.
चर्चा में स्वाभाविक रूप से माहौल अच्छा था, लेकिन एक्ट रिपील पर अड़े रहने के कारण कोई रास्ता बन नहीं पाया। लेकिन मुझे आशा है कि जिस प्रकार की बातचीत आज हुई है उस हिसाब से अगली बैठक में सार्थक चर्चा होगी और संभवतः हम लोग समाधान तक पहुंच पाएंगे।
The next round of talks will be held on the 8th of January. Agriculture Minister said that there are millions of farmers in the country and any decision that will be taken keeping in mind the interest of everyone.
जब इस प्रकार के विषय होते हैं तो निश्चित रूप से चर्चा के कई दौर करना पड़ते हैं। समस्या के कानूनी पहलुओं को भी ध्यान में रखना पड़ता है, पूरे देश को भी ध्यान में रखना पड़ता है। देश में करोड़ों किसान हैं, उनकी अपनी भावनाएं हैं, उनके कानून के लाभ और हानि और हित उससे जुड़े हुए हैं। तो सरकार तो देश भर के किसानों के प्रति प्रतिबद्ध है ना।
The farmers also had their lunch during the meeting. Union Minister of State for Commerce and Industry, Som Prakash, also held discussions with the farmers during lunch. The previous talk between the government and farmers was held on the 30th of December. According to the details shared by the farmers, the meeting on the 30th of December held detailed discussions on 3 farm laws, MSP, and Commission for Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and Adjoining Areas Ordinance 2020. Following the meeting, both sides reached agreement on 2 issues, including Commission for Air Quality Management in National Capital Region and Adjoining Areas Ordinance 2020 and the Electricity Amendment Bill 2020. All the Union Ministers and Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself have repeatedly said that agriculture reforms are meant for the welfare of farmers and they will benefit from them. The government has repeatedly made it clear that it is ready to address the farmers' concerns. Meanwhile, the farmers' protest continues at several Delhi border points. People are also facing huge problems due to the protest by farmers at the border points. With O.P. Yadav and Shailendra Mishra in Delhi, DD India.
The Indian national flag was installed at the United Nations Security Council stakeout on Monday as India started its 2-year tenure at the UN body for the 8th time as a non-permanent member. Flags of India along with Ireland, Norway, Kenya and Mexico were installed. India's permanent representative to the UN, T.S. Tirumurti, installed the tricolour and said that India will use this tenure to bring human-centric and inclusive solutions to matters of international peace and security. He added that India will raise the voice against common enemies of humanity like terrorism.
We will use our tenure to bring human-centric and inclusive solutions to matters of international peace and security. India will be a voice for the developing world. We will not shy away from raising our voice against the common enemies of humanity like terrorism. Peacekeeping, peace building, maritime security, women and youth, especially in conflict situations, and technology with a human face will receive our attention while on the Council. We look forward to our collective pursuit for an ideal where the world is one family. Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam.
In the first high-level bilateral engagement in the new year, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will be visiting Sri Lanka from today till 7th of January. Amid the COVID pandemic and related travel restrictions in both the countries, the visit is being arranged through the air bubble. During his visit, External Affairs Minister is scheduled to have bilateral meetings with President Rajapaksa, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardene. This will also be the first foreign visit by External Affairs Minister in 2021 and also the first by a foreign dignitary to Sri Lanka in the new year. I quote him, he says, as such, it signifies the priority both the countries attach to strengthening their close and cordial relations in all spheres of mutual interest, said a press release by External Affairs Ministry in Delhi. Through high-level exchanges, both the sides are looking forward to strengthen bilateral relationship in multiple areas of cooperation, said a release by the Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry. One of the key areas of focus during the visit could be the COVID vaccine. India has assured that it will be providing the COVID vaccine to its neighbours on priority basis. India on Monday launched the 40th scientific expedition to Antarctica. Now, this Indian expedition marks 4 decades of country's scientific endeavour to the southern white continent. The 40th expedition journey will be flagged off today from Goa with 43 members on board. The chartered ice-class vessel MV Vasiliy Golovnin will make this journey and will reach Antarctica in 30 days. After leaving behind a team of 40 members, it will return to India in April, and on its return, it will also bring back the winter team of the preceding trip. The scientific and logistic activities of the 40th expedition are limited due to the existing challenges associated with COVID-19 pandemic. The expedition will duly follow all protocols for deployment of men and material as per Council of Managers of National Antarctic Programs. The Indian Antarctic expeditions began in 1981. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus lauded India for continuously taking decisive action and demonstrating its resolve to end COVID-19 pandemic. In a tweet, the WHO chief said that if we act together, we can ensure effective and safe vaccines are used to protect the most vulnerable everywhere. And with that, we now take a look at the COVID-19 situation from across the country. With sustained, proactive and calibrated approach, the daily new cases in India are on a sustained declining trend. The decline in daily cases has ensured a consistent fall in the active caseload as well. The share of active cases in the total positive cases has further compressed to merely 2.23% of the cumulative caseload. With the rising recoveries and decline in daily new cases, India's cumulative recoveries are moving closer to 1 crore. The total recovered cases are nearing 99,75,000 today, which translates to a recovery rate of 96.32%. Over 20,000 people have recovered in the last 24 hours. Rashtrapati Bhavan Museum Complex, which was closed for public viewing due to COVID-19 pandemic since 13th of March last year, will reopen from today. The museum will open on all days except on Monday and government holidays. Visitors can book their slots online by visiting the website, that is president to find ia.nic.in or rashtrapati shivalig.gov.in or rbmuseum.gov.in. Now, on-the-spot booking facility, which was previously available, is temporarily suspended. In order to maintain social distancing norms, 4 pre-booked time slots have been fixed between 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m., 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. with a maximum limit of 25 visitors per slot. During the tour, visitors have to follow COVID protocols. People vulnerable to the COVID-19 pandemic are discouraged to visit. In fresh steps for unlocking, in Kerala, state government has declared further unlocking measures. Traditional and artistic performances as part of religious festivals with restricted public gathering has been allowed. Cultural programs are allowed to be organized in indoor and outdoor venues with public participation restricted through tickets. However, there will be a cap for the audience, which is set as 100 for indoor programs and 200 for outdoor performances. Other exhibition programs are also allowed to open, but only for business to business level, not involving public. Training of sports persons in swimming pools has been permitted, ensuring routine disinfection of the pools. Despite cinema theatres allowed to open for public screening from today onwards with restrictions, Kerala's theatres may remain shut. The decision is pending by the Theatre Association. The government has allowed theatres with strict guidelines, which include admission for only half the capacity. Timing will be from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. only. However, Theatre Association finds it infeasible to operate with restrictions and has demanded more concessions in electricity charges and entertainment tax. Final decision on opening of theatres will be taken in the state-level meeting of association today. Earlier, the Tamil Nadu government on Monday permitted to increase the seating capacity of cinemas, theatres, multiplexes from existing 50% to 100%, adhering to strict COVID-19 protocols. Permission to reopen the state cinemas, theatres and multiplexes with 50% seating capacity was allowed from November 10th. Let's now get you a quick update on the global COVID-19 situation. As of now, over 8 crore 60 lakh cases have been reported worldwide, with over 18 lakh 59,000 deaths. Over 6 crore patients have already recovered from the virus. United States continues to remain the worst hit country by the pandemic so far and has crossed the 2 crore mark. The US has reported over 2 crore 13 lakh cases of the virus, with death toll surging past 3 lakh 61,000. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson reimposed a lockdown in England as more transmissible variant of COVID-19 fueled surge in infections and hospitalizations across the country. The stay-at-home order is expected to last until mid-February. Johnson warned that the coming weeks would be the hardest amidst surging cases and patient numbers. He said that those in the top 4 priority groups would be offered a first vaccine dose by the middle of next month. Under the new lockdown, people will be permitted to leave home only to shop for essentials, seek medical assistance. All schools and colleges, along with outdoor sports venues, will remain closed from today. However, restaurants can continue to offer food delivery. On Monday, United Kingdom recorded more than 50,000 new confirmed COVID cases for the 7th day in a row. A further 58,784 cases and an additional 407 deaths within 28 days of a positive test result was reported. In more international news, Spain continues to recommend administering 2 doses of BioNTech Pfizer vaccine in the period indicated by its manufacturers. Meanwhile, BioNTech Pfizer has said that immunity is only guaranteed 1 week after receiving the second dose. Over 82,000 people have so far received the vaccine. However, the decision goes against the United Kingdom's recent policy shift to no longer reserve doses for a second round 3 weeks after the first one. Spain has registered more than 50,000 deaths and cases close to 2 million. In the United States, Californians continue to flood COVID-19 testing sites as the surge in COVID-19 cases continue. Also, the recent emergence of a more transmissible variant of the COVID-19 virus has impacted states' healthcare service. California has become the latest flashpoint despite states' toughest restrictions on social gatherings and business activities. Meanwhile, members of the National Guard have started orientation to assist medical staff at California hospitals as Southern California struggles with lack of beds in ICU units and available staff to cope with the numbers. California Governor Gavin Newsom said that 4,000 Californians had died in the last 14 days and warned that the state may soon see an even worse post-holiday COVID-19 surge in the coming days and weeks. He added that the state has been having more issues distributing Moderna vaccine due to complications with an intermediary. However, the Pfizer vaccine was easier to distribute. Voters in Georgia will today head to the polls after 2 months of hard-fought campaigning for closely watched Senate runoff elections on January 6th. The outcome will decide which party holds the majority in the Senate. If Republicans win both Georgia Senate seats in the runoff election, they will retain control of the upper chamber. If their candidates lose, Democrats will control the Senate, House of Representatives and White House. Ahead of today's runoff elections, Republican surrogates traveled to Georgia Savannah on Monday for last-minute rallies. Today's runoff elections see a pair of incumbent Republican U.S. senators against 2 Democratic challengers. The Democrats need to win both the seats in order to wrest control of the chamber. If Democrats sweep the twin runoffs, the chamber would be split 50-50 and the tie-breaking vote would go to Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, giving President-elect Joe Biden's party full sway over Congress. Meanwhile, Georgia's top election official Brad Raffensperger has called President Donald Trump's false claims that he won the state in 2020 just plain wrong. His comment came after Trump pressured him in a phone call to find votes proving his win. Saudi Arabia will reopen its airspace and land and sea border to Qatar. The breakthrough announcement came on the eve of Gulf Cooperation Council summit and could pave the way towards resolving a political dispute that led Saudi Arabia and its allies to impose a boycott on Qatar. The breakthrough was announced by Kuwaiti Foreign Minister Ahmed Nasser Al Sabah. The Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, along with representatives from Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates will attend the Gulf Cooperation Council summit, where a deal will be signed today. Senior White House advisor Jared Kushner, joined by Middle East envoy Avi Berkowitz and Brian Hook, will also attend the signing ceremony. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Egypt imposed a diplomatic trade and travel boycott on Qatar in June 2017, accusing Qatar of supporting terrorism. However, Qatar has repeatedly denied the allegations and said that there was no legitimate justification for the severance of the relations. Iran has resumed enriching uranium to 20% purity in its most significant breach yet of its 2015 deal with the world powers to end nuclear sanctions. The global nuclear watchdog confirmed that the process had begun at the underground Fordo plant on Monday. Enriched uranium can be used to make reactor fuel, but also nuclear bombs. Weapons-grade uranium is 90% purity. Meanwhile, U.S. State Department spokesperson accused Iran of pursuing a campaign of nuclear extortion. Iran, which insists that its nuclear program is peaceful, has rolled back a number of commitments under the deal. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates lauded Prime Minister Modi's leadership in the scientific innovation and vaccine manufacturing capability. Gates in a tweet said, and I quote him, "It's great to see India's leadership in scientific innovation and vaccine manufacturing capability as the world works to end the COVID-19 pandemic." All right, talking more about this is our correspondent Abhishek Jha. Abhishek, just a couple of days back, we saw how the Indian Prime Minister had been applauded on the World Forum for the fight against COVID-19 and for his leadership qualities. And again, today we have Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, all praises, lauding the Prime Minister for his distinct qualities. I would want you to speak more on that and how significant is this?
So Preeti, of course, this two vaccines that India has produced is going to be globally supplied. It is one of the kind of initiative that India has said that whenever there will be a breakthrough in vaccine development, it should be for a greater welfare of the humanity. It should not be commercially utilized or it should not be something of commercial benefit. And these were the principles that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has vouched for across the globe. And now, when these two vaccines have been created and almost discovered, and they are being to be started across the population, so now the world is looking at India, at how soon India can roll out these vaccines in various other nations which have not been able to develop their own vaccines or who actually cannot afford this vaccine development or their purchasing. So India has also said that whenever these vaccines will be made available, it should not only be affordable, it should be accessible, and there should be a sustainable supply of these vaccines. That is also one of the key, that would be a key, angle in fight against this corona pandemic. And India, having been in a position of producing 60% of global vaccines all around the year, is certainly in a position where it can actually supply the global needs in a substantial proposition to the countries where these vaccines are not developed, to the countries where these vaccines are huge in demand, especially in African countries. So with all these proposition and all these points that India has as of now, Bill Gates, who himself has been a champion in this cause of vaccination drive globally, or his foundation has been very much working against those epidemic spread and awareness in various type of health sectors. He has been also involved in India's health sector also. So coming in from Bill Gates, this also says something that Indian ability to not only fight COVID, but to COVID in the last few months when India tried to be in support of its global peers, but also its ability to develop a scientifically approved vaccine which can actually not only spread the COVID, but actually contain its spread. It's something of a great achievement, and one can hope that once India becomes more sufficiently enough to have produced this vaccine, it will be able to supply it across the globe.
All right, Abhishek, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. That was our correspondent spelling out more details on the appreciation which has come in from Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Let's get to other news now. We'll talk of sports now. Union Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Kiran Rijiju on Monday launched the Assam Rifles Public School in Shillong as a Khelo India sports school. At present, 9 sports schools have been approved across the country, out of which 5 are managed by defence and paramilitary forces. In the Northeast region, Assam Rifles Public School is the first sports school announced under Khelo India scheme. The government will now bear the expenses for talented sports students of the school in terms of lodging, boarding, education expenses, competition exposure, insurance and medical expenses, and also sports training and support, salary of coaches and support staff, sports equipment, and also a lot more. The objective of the Khelo India Sports School is to integrate sports with education and in the process develop sports in the country and improve the overall profile and outlook of the athletes. Now, this will also help in the identification and upliftment of talent from northeastern, rural or tribal areas. Rijiju has termed it as a historic beginning of a journey for Assam Rifles Public School. He said that this Khelo India Sports Centre will be nurturing young boys and girls who will, in the long run, bring medals from the Olympics. Indian cricket players Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw and Navdeep Saini will see a comeback in the next and the third test match between India and Australia starting from Thursday in Sydney. The development comes on the day both the teams, their support staff and the match officials tested negative for COVID-19. The permission to play has been given to the players after investigations were held in the incident related to an alleged bio-bubble breach, which are related to the COVID-19 violations of the COVID-19 protocols. And KL Rahul sprained his left wrist while batting in the nets at MCG during Team India's practice session on Saturday. The wicket-keeper batsman will not be available for the remaining 2 tests of the Border Gavaskar Trophy, as he will need about 3 weeks' time to recover completely and regain full strength. He will now return to India and head to the National Cricket Academy in Mangaluru for further rehabilitation of his injury. Let's get to other news now. Talking of weather, North India, which was reeling under a severe cold wave, is likely to get some relief as maximum temperatures are showing positive tendency over Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi. However, due to active western disturbance, national capital received light intensity rains over west, northwest and parts of north and central Delhi today. The Met Department has predicted thunderstorm, lightning and hailstorm in parts of Delhi and adjoining areas during the next 2 hours. Meanwhile, Delhi Safdarjung Observatory recorded a minimum temperature of 13.2 degrees Celsius today at 8:30 a.m. Meanwhile, higher reaches of Jammu and Kashmir received fresh snowfall. Srinagar-Jammu National Highway remained closed while slippery road conditions due to the snow caused inconvenience to commuters. However, snow clearing vehicles were pressed into service for clearance of snow from roads in Srinagar and all inter-district routes and towns of the valley. That's it in this edition of the News this hour. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.